Hello, welcome to the Wasting Time podcast. I'm Chris, and I'm back here with Nick. What's up, Nick?
Good afternoon. It is afternoon. Yes. How are we doing?
Very well.
Enjoying the warm weather?
No, it's very toasty down here, and I'm not a big fan of warm weather in London at the best of times. So I'll be glad in a couple of weeks when autumn is upon us, or fall is upon us, as the highest percentage of our listeners would call it.
Yeah, you say that, but we've had a pretty shit summer in the UK, so it's like a bit of a late run of nice weather. But you have it about five degrees warmer than.
Check it out, listeners. Me and Nick haven't spoken for so long that we're just having to talk about the weather here.
I mean, yeah, it's either that or children and work at the moment for me. So I rely on you to fill me in and actually what has been going on.
Yeah, let's get into some of that. Big one for us. Did you check out MxPx's new album that came out very recently?
Yeah, probably not as much as you have, but yeah. I've definitely given it a couple of listens already. Attempted to put my wife through it during a car journey, but it was rejected. So I had to find some time outside of that kitchen cooking scenario.
Those kind of times. Got it. Yeah. Out of interest, how many songs did you get in when you played it with Lucy?
I didn't know. I didn't even get it on.
Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah. Fair enough.
Yeah, there was the suggestion to put it on. And,
okay, so on the times you have listened to it, what are your initial thoughts on it?
I still don't think it's their best, but it's better than I think some of the recent releases.
Yeah.
Got a bit more of a older feel though. I feel like older MxPx style. I'm sure I sent you the track that really stood out for me.
Yeah, you did. I forget what it's called. It was it was one that I'm not a big fan of. It was one of the harder ones. I forget what it's called.
That's probably why. It was Mountains to Climb.
No, that was the one I sent you.
I'm just looking at my screenshots.
You said ready to rage. I think was the one you liked.
There we go. Ready to Rage. I was just looking at WhatsApp. Ready to Rage was one of my favorites. And Mountains to Climb was one of yours.
It was, yeah.
Great chorus on this, you said.
Yeah, there we go.
You also said, oh no, you just said new MxPx going in. Listened once through, thought it was all right. Second listen, I'm impressed. So I've done your review for you, basically.
Exactly.
Anything else to add on those 2 points?
I think I agree with you. It's not like the glory days. But it is better than other recent releases. I feel like their last one, their self-titled one, all the fans absolutely lapped it up, apart from you and me. And they're lapping up this one. And I feel like you and me are a bit different from everyone again, but we're more on board this time.
I don't know what their process is these days, and if it differs to, well, it must do, like all kind of got jobs and doing different things, and they, is their writing process any different than what it was back in the day, or did Mike always sit down and write everything himself? Was it a collaborative journey? Or
well, it'd be nice to get them all on the show to ask questions like that. I'm working on that.
Okay, fair enough. I'll try and get on board for that one.
Yeah, definitely.
All three.
That's the ambition I have, but we'll see. I'd be happy with just Mike again, to be honest.
Yes, always good to chat to.
Yeah.
And I guess talking about previous guests, you've been hanging out with Pete Munters recently as well, whilst he was in London.
Yeah,
he's brought out a re-release, a vinyl re-release, hasn't he?
Well, I think it's the first vinyl pressing.
It never pressed originally.
I think so. Don't hold me to that. But anyway, it's a new pressing from their first. So yeah, as Nick says, this is Peter Munters from Over It, band that we both really, really like. Their first album, Timing Is Everything, is getting there. Maybe it's a repressing, but it's new Over It activity, and it looks great. It's I think it's coming out sort of October kind of time. We're hoping to get Peter on the show sort of around the release, which would be great. but yeah, as Nick says, he was in London. He reached out and we hung out a couple of times. It was great to meet his family as well. My wife came out on the last night as well, and yeah, we had some good times. And yeah, he's such a great guy. He's great company, has great stories. Yeah, can't say anything but good things about that guy.
You went to see a show as well, didn't you? What did you go and see with him?
Yeah, we did. We went to see Pulley. Like the 90s sort of skate punk band. They were playing New Cross Inn, and I kind of, so him and I were meeting on the Friday while he was here for the week, and I was suggesting things he could do, and I was like, oh, and also randomly Pulley are playing in London on Wednesday, and he was just like, fuck. He was like, let's do it. Let's go to that. So we ended up going, and it was quite funny when we got to the venue just before they took the stage. He kind of tapped one of them on the shoulder, and they sort of turned around, did a double take, and they were like, "What are you doing here?" Because I think Over It played with them a lot back in the day.
Yeah, nice.
But yeah, that was great fun. That was great fun. Yeah, really, really good to see him. And yeah, as I say, hopefully he'll be appearing on this show very soon.
Good. Anything else been on your radar recently? I did have a listen to the new Spanish Love Songs record last week.
What did you think of that?
Yeah, it's all right. A couple of good tracks on it. I'm not a massive fan of theirs.
Yeah, I can't say I am.
I was listening to a bit of the Front Bottoms as well, which I have kind of listened to a bit in the past. They got a new record out, and they're kind of in a bit of a similar category, I guess, in terms of style.
Yeah.
And I would say that the Spanish Love Songs record's definitely better than that Front Bottoms one. You listen to either of those?
I tried the Spanish Love Songs one out of curiosity, but it's not my thing. I didn't get through it all. No disrespect to them. Great to see them doing well, but I'd rather, if I was listening to them, I'd rather just be done with it and listen to the men singers, who have had a couple of new songs themselves recently, which sound great. I think they have an album coming out next month, I think. So
are they? All right, cool. Yeah, they've got a UK tour lined up for quite a big run of tours, haven't they, for next year?
Yeah. I just booked to go to one of the London shows, so looking forward to that.
Yeah, my brother messaged me about Newcastle actually, so yeah, so try and get along to that. A rare night out.
Lovebreakers are in London a couple of times in October, so that'll be good. And obviously,
I saw they were supporting Circa Waves as well. That's
yeah. They're playing with Circa Waves, the Grimsby date of that tour, so that's a great one. And yeah, so have those, and then obviously you and I are going out to Northern Ireland. That's not that far away, a couple of months away. We're going to see the Lovebreakers boys play with Elvana, which is always a laugh. So that should be good.
Do some sightseeing whilst we're out there.
Yeah. You'll have to show me around. I've never been, and I know you've been out there.
Yeah,
you've been out a few times with work, right?
Yeah, Belfast, very cool city.
Aside from that, yeah, been blaring a lot of Over It recently. Just with what we were talking about before, that's been cool. But that's it, really. That's it.
Nice one. Well, I've no idea who even you're introducing here, so do you want to just do that and I'll find out?
Today I had Rishi. Apologies, Rishi. I'm not sure how to pronounce your last name. I think it's Bahl, but if I get that wrong, I do apologize. So Rishi Bahl from he sings for Eternal Boy, but he also is the creator and the main guy for Four Chord Festival, which has become a huge thing over in Pittsburgh. I spoke to him a couple of weeks after the festival, and it was great. I mean, we essentially, what you're about to hear now is me and him becoming best friends, and just listen to a bromance be born here.
Right, but I mean, you would know how to pronounce his last name if you were best friends. So you need to work on that.
That's true. Anyway, roll the interview. Firstly, thanks for doing this. Really appreciate you spending some time. Well, I guess this afternoon for me, morning for you.
I'm happy to be here. I'm sorry that I had to put it off. It's been a crazy last couple months for me, but I am glad to be here, and I am stoked to talk to you. over the pond.
And I think actually the timing as it works out is actually better, because we were going to speak, I guess, like just before your festival, and then I would have been fighting to get the episode edited and out like before it, as a little thing, you know, kind of looking to it, and like it was a little tight. So this way, it kind of, I think it works better because I get to hear all about it, and there's less time pressure on my end as well, you know.
Definitely. I'm down. I'm stoked to be here.
Nice. So where are you Pittsburgh based?
I'm in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, which is like the headquarters for Eternal Boy, which is my band, and then it's the headquarters for Four Chord Music Festival, which is the full-time job I never thought that I would ever have. Well, one of many full-time jobs that I have, but so Pittsburgh, PA is where it's at. Best city in the United States if you ever make it out here.
I've been to the States several times, but it's been, I'm ashamed to say, the West Coast every time. I haven't branched out, so I do need to venture to Pittsburgh, definitely, because I only ever hear good things.
Come out to the festival next year. We'll comp you. We'll give you the royal treatment. I'll give you your own golf cart to drive around.
Amazing. And this is being recorded, so I have this on record. So there we go. Beautiful. I guess, like, you know, like, I mean, obviously, depending on how much time you have and what's cool with you, I do want to talk about Eternal Boy and a little bit about that kind of stuff. But I think it makes sense just to jump straight into Four Chord, just because at the time of recording, as you say, it's only just happened. So was it the weekend? I think it was weekend before last, maybe, that it happened. But I think just before I hit record, you alluded to some challenges that occurred. So real quick, like, summary. Good festival this year. Yeah,
I mean, you know, super quick synopsis is that Four Chord was August 12th and 13th in the States here. It could not have gone smoother in terms of operationally, attendance, no major issues, of course, except the one variable that is uncontrollable, which is the weather. And there was, on our first day on the 12th, we were dodging bad weather all day since we opened doors at 11. We had some bands have to take 10-minute breaks because there was lightning, and there's protocol about lightning. And then Water Parks is about to go on, ironically enough, called Water Parks. And about halfway during their set, there was a tornado warning that went for our immediate area. And so it was really, really weird. All of the cell phones, all 8,000 people in the entire stadium, all their cell phones were beeping at the same time for this tornado warning. Oh, shit. And so we had about 10 minutes to evacuate the field and to shelter in place. And so that was a huge headache. But other than that, which is a very large headache that I'm still dealing with as of right now, honestly, the festival couldn't have gone any better. I mean, it's a very DIY mentality. It is, you know, if you ever make it here and you walk into the festival, it is very Warped Tour. It is very, very Warped Tour. Okay. But overall, it went okay, really well, other than the tornado. Yeah.
Did that stop play for how long? Did that kind of put things out of action for that day?
Yeah. So it went on for a longer than normally in the summer. Storms hit and then they go away. Storms hit, then they go away. But this thing stayed we had about a 2-hour delay from 7:15 to about 9 o'clock, 7 o'clock to 9 o'clock. We had to cut Andrew McMahon's set. And then Taking Back Sunday had some damage to stuff, so they did acoustic. And then Yellow Card played later than they should have, and which is fine. That was what we decided. And they finished off the night. And most of the people stayed. Some people left at that point. When that happens, it's just mass confusion, right? The internet was blown out. Power was blown out. Now, granted, we run off generators, but we had to turn the generators off when there was lightning. So it was a bit confusion for the first hour or so, but we pulled it together as best we could. So it was about a 2-hour delay-ish.
And I think it was an Instagram post you did. You were kind of like, you mentioned that, and you said about the challenges you've faced throughout, because obviously you've been doing this festival a few years now. Was this probably like the most major one that you've had from the weather, at least?
These are great questions. First of all, I love these questions.
Thank you very much.
Believe it or not, this is probably not the most difficult thing that I've dealt with in the festival. I was just talking to somebody with a local newspaper here in Pittsburgh who was doing a story on it. And since 2019, it has been very, very tumultuous to do a festival. 2019, I had The Offspring, and 10 minutes before doors opened, The Offspring canceled.
Oh, really? Did they have good reason?
I got to be careful what I say. My personal side would be no, they did not have a good reason. But
okay.
The lead singer apparently threw his back out the night before. Why they told me 10 minutes before doors and not when it happened, is unclear to me. But so Simple Plan stepped up and ended up headlining. Simple Plan hits their last note. Thank you so much, Four Chord. We'll see you next time. Torrential monsoon downpour happened. Wow. So that was 2019. In 2020, I had Blink confirmed for.
I remember at the time.
Yeah. So March 2020, I had Blink confirmed.
Yep.
We announced 4 days before the United States shut down. Show sold out almost in 3 days. Had to get postponed because of the pandemic. We pushed it to 2021, and of course, the awful news about Mark having cancer came out.
Of course.
And they canceled all of their dates for 2021. And so Rise Against came in and filled in for whatever that meant. They did a great job. Loved it. They were cool. 2021 went great. And 2022 was uneventful, and then 2023 was this. So it's I don't know if a pandemic is harder than weather, or if a cancellation that's 5 minutes before doors is better than weather. But at the end of the day, it's all fuckery. I'm sorry for cursing.
No, curse as much as you want. I just want to take a second just to talk about the lineup this year, because the lineup to me is so insanely good, and like I love what you do here, because I feel like we're very much on the same page music taste wise. I mean, obviously listening to the music your band makes, and just the kind of bands you book, and I can see the records behind you, and I think you wearing a Drive-Thru shirt as well.
Come on, man. Come on, dude. Come on, dude.
Yeah. So I mean, I just want to talk about some like your thoughts behind some of this lineup, because I just love the mixture of it. It's kind of, you got some legacy stuff, and you've got some like new bands who are doing really well in the scene and stuff, and just like, so you've got things like on the Sunday you had Sincere Engineer. Do you like personally seek out to book some of these bands? How does that come about?
Yeah, it's 99% of it is all curated by me. Awesome. And it is exactly what you said. You've got to anchor it with some bigger legacy bands, and then some up and comers, and then ones that are on the precipice of kind of breaking. And I think that I really only figured that out over the last 2 years. I mean, this year I think the lineup's awesome. Obviously, Yellow Card taking back Sunday, Andrew McMahon, like anchors, Water Parks, like they broke already but are still new. Then you've got Origami Angel, Magnolia Park. You've got the Home Team, all kind of like on the precipice. And again, like I don't love all of these bands. I like most of them, but I love what they're doing, if that makes sense. Right. I like their approach, their grindability. Yeah. And then the second day is supposed to be more punk.
Yep, I can see that.
Yeah, and even last year, our punk day was Bad Religion, Descendants, and Pennywise, Lagwagon, like some of those legacy ones. And then this year it kind of ended up being more, the Interrupter, Streetlight, more ska punk. But I mean, you get Gaslight, you get Face to Face, you have Alkaline Trio. It's more of that. I don't know really what to call it. I don't want to call it folky punk, but it's like a more mature punk.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah. You can see that distinct difference. Yeah.
So yeah, the curation is kind of you hit the nail on the head. It's kind of trying to get an amalgam of all.
Yeah, it's cool. It's kind of like what we do for this show. I say we, by the way, because I normally have a co-host. I don't speak about myself in the third person. But it's very similar. Like have lots of legacy bands come on, and then the up and comers as well. Like looking at this lineup, there's so many people we've had on the show and stuff. So I like your thinking and stuff.
Oh yeah.
Whose set did you enjoy this week, or the weekend before last, whenever it was? Whose set did you enjoy the most?
So I was really stressed the Saturday when the tornado.
Understandably, yeah.
So I love old school throwback pop. I mean, like I grew up in the early 2000s. I'm in my mid 30s, so like
I'm 40, man. So like we're kind of I grew up around the same time,
Yeah, dude. No, it changed my life. It changed my life to the core. So,
yep.
And Eternal Boy has recently become friends with Mest,
Yep.
who was hugely influential for me. I mean, there's a story I told on stage at Four Chord that's a true story. When I was in high school and I started my band, which is now called Eternal Boy, we used to be called the Space Pimps.
Yep.
And so when we first started, we covered Cadillac, the big song by Mest, and we told everybody in our high school that it was our song. And so for years, our entire high school thought that Cadillac was a Space Pimp song, which is funny. But so I loved Mest, and I loved Houston Calls, which was a Rushmore Records drive-through band. That was phenomenal. Day 2, I think Face to Face stole the show. They're my favorite punk band of all time. They were unbelievable. And what's really cool about Face to Face is that they're like my favorite band in the punk world, and they couldn't have been cooler, which is just cherry on the cake for that. So I'd say Face to Face, Houston Calls, and Mest.
Nice, good answers. I like that. Out of those, we've had Tony's been on the show before. I think he's coming back soon. Yeah, awesome guy.
Yeah, they're doing that Bowling for Soup tour in the US.
Yeah, and he's got that new song coming out with the Jarrett feature on it as well, which sounds like it's going to be pretty catchy.
Yep.
But yeah, no, I love it, man. Like, I'm all about I'm about all those genres as well, but I have like an affinity for like the old school pop punk from that era as well, because that's, kind of what changed my life as well,
What are your top 3 most influential early 2000s pop punk records that you could not live without if you were stranded on a desert island, had no food, no nothing but those records?
Great question. So out and out first one would be Ever Passing Moment, MxPx.
Ooh.
And then I know it's 99, not early 2000s, but you got to have Enema of the State. And 100%. Then for the third one, it would either be The Good Charlotte self-titled, or it might be Destination Unknown by Mest.
Whoa!
Yeah.
Whoa! Well, those are good. Those are really. I mean, MxPx is always under the radar for me. They're like such a great band. I mean, Slowly Going the Way of the Buffalo was one of the first punk records that I think I stole from my sister, and I mean, I just think they're phenomenal too, man.
So good. What would be your 3?
Looking at all, I've like wall to wall, every inch of my office is filled with my favorite bands, like records. This is really tough. I was recently asked about this for like an alternative press article, and it's very difficult because Blink-182 is the most influential band for me of all time. To lose them at Four Chord, obviously for health reasons, I totally get it. I'm not trying to be a cock here. But I mean, it was devastating for me for those 2 years or a year and a half trying to make it work. But so I'm not going to put Blink in my top 3 most influential records of all time, but they are my most influential band. My favorite record of all time is So Long Astoria by the Ataris.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Second favorite. Go ahead.
No, I've got some thoughts on that. I'll let you say. Okay. I'll let you say all of them. Then I'll come to that.
Say It Like You Mean It by The Starting Line, number 2, and Jimmy World Futures. Believe it or not, Clarity, not Bleed American. It'd be Futures.
Yeah, it has some big songs on it. No, I was just going to say So Long Astoria. Like, I loved Blue Skies so much.
Blue Skies.
Yeah, and like for some reason, I didn't. So I do revisit So Long Astoria. There's songs I like on it, but I just don't have. I'd never had the same love. But that's that's how.
It's a good point. I mean, Blue Skies was like, it's not the same. It's like a different iteration of the band almost. When you think about it, but then you get End Is Forever, which I didn't love, but when you look at the trajectory of like Blue Skies, then End Is Forever, then So Long, you get like how they got there. But true. When So Long came out, our previous bass player in the Space Pimps was like, "Yo, this is one of the most amazing records ever written." And I was like, "No fucking way!" Blue Skies is absolutely awesome, and I love Blue Skies. Your Boyfriend Sucks. 1:15:96. I mean, like those songs are unbelievable. There is something that I think it's the timing of when So Long Astoria came out for me, that it just hit right at the right spot. And for some reason, like I could put that record on, drive in my car. I do a lot of driving and thinking just for the sake of it. Put that record on at 9 p.m. in the summer and, just drive around my hometown. And I can't help but not feel it in the exact spot I need it.
Oh, nice. It's good to connect with it like that. I feel like there's lots of things like this, like I just want to kind of bring up during the conversation, but like, just for the sake of the structure, just a couple of things I wanted to ask you about Four Chords still, just on the subject of that. Because it seems to have grown into this just, I mean, you said it still has a DIY feel, but like the artists you book for it and stuff is, it's big time. So you started this festival, like, did you solely start this festival, and like how did that come about, and when was that? Was it about 8 years ago, something like that?
Yeah, so this is Four Chord 9. It was just started by me. In 2014, the first one was in a small club in Pittsburgh. It held 1,200 people. We did it at that same club the first 5 years.
Okay.
And I say we again. I guess I'm talking to myself in third. I have a lot of help now.
Okay. Yeah.
In terms of talent buying and marketing and branding, and so I mean, it's all me. But like operational, stage managers, production managers. Now we have to have that, but. Honestly, it was me and my best friend, Max. Max is my best friend. He's an attorney. So it's very convenient for whenever they send you these long form contracts that are hard to understand. So I remember that first year, I funded the festival. Me and a family friend funded the festival for like $15,000. And I gave 7,500. They gave 7,500. It was the Wonder Years, Real Friends, Modern Baseball, Turnover, the Space Pimps, We Are the Union, Rust Belt Lights. It went great. The second year was Yellow Card, one of the last shows they ever played before they broke up. And it just, I don't know. It's just like, some years were bad, some years were great. Most years have been great. And I just never paid myself for years, and I just started sinking every penny back into it. And, I always dreamt about, doing something like this. I didn't know how to do it or we just limped through it. And, but it is in its 9th year this year. With the pandemic, I suppose it's 10. And 2024 will be the 10-year anniversary, which I'm hoping to lock in here over the next month, the headliner, and get it announced early and make it huge.
Okay. Yeah. that was going to be my next question. I assume you'd either sorted it or are sorting the headliners at the minute. So, I mean, I've got written down here what's the most exciting booking you've had for it, but I could take a reasonable stab at this, and I'd say it would be Blink when you initially had them for 19, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I mean, every year there's been a band that I love on it. I mean, but Blink was. I remember where I was when it happened, when I got the email, when I got the phone call, and I actually say I should have known at that point that. It's just my luck. We call it the eternal boy luck, that everything that can go wrong will go wrong. But I took a screenshot of the title of the email, which was confirmation Blink-182 Four Chord Music Fest. Sent it to every one of my friends, every one of my family members, because they know. I mean, I sometimes, I'm sure you can empathize with this, and I'm not sure what you do like for your career, outside of the podcast. But every single thing that happened in my life was a reaction to being in the pop punk scene and it's very, very weird to see that, because people look at pop punk as this kind of immature thing. And now we're in our 30s and 40s and we're still living, eating and breathing it. And I'm still in a band, and, it's, but it is, that was the most important thing that happened to me personally. With the festival, the band is a separate thing that we've achieved things and stuff, but that was it, man. That was it. The only thing above Blink that I could get would be Taylor Swift, which I am one of the biggest Taylor Swift fans of all time. I think she's amazing.
Yeah, I saw that from your social media, and I do want to ask you some questions about that a little bit later on, if that's all right. But no, I love it. That completely makes sense, and I can relate as well. Like, I feel so. I mean, outside the podcast, my day job, I work in higher education, but the podcast takes up a lot of my time, and I manage a band who's hopefully going to play. Things are looking good, but we'll see what happens with that.
No way. Well, first of all, wait, hold on. Yeah. What do you do in higher education?
So I do like program management. I work at London School of Economics.
Dude, I'm a college professor outside of this.
No, I did not know that. I probably should have known that.
I have a PhD in marketing, and I'm a college professor here in Pittsburgh outside of being in the band and doing the festival.
Oh, shit. No way.
Yeah, it's gnarly. I thought you work at the London School of Economics? Holy shit, dude.
Yeah. I kind of work behind the scenes there. It's a nice place to work, for sure.
And then what's the band that you manage?
So they're from Birmingham, UK. They're called Love Breakers. It's one word. And I guess they'd fit in more to... if they were playing the festival the other week, they'd play the second day. So they're kind of like almost sound like an English Gaslight Anthem. It's kind of they toured with Social Distortion last year, and they kind of fit well with that. But they're very English sounding, so they kind of like, whilst they do sound like the punk stuff, they sound a little bit like, like, I don't know, the Jam or whatever. They have that vibe about them.
Oh, hell yeah, dude. I just wrote it down. I'm gonna check them out when we get off.
Oh, I appreciate that. Yeah, please do. Please do.
Is there anything I can do to help? Certainly let me know. I'd be happy to do
thank you so much. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. But yeah, no, the I guess my final point on that I was getting to on that was but the whole thing, because then I played in bands when I was younger as well. But what started the whole thing for me was like hearing What's My Age Again in the summer of '99, and I was just like, dude. And then getting Enema of the State that summer, and I was just like, I didn't know music could be this good,
Dude, I know that What's My Age Again was their single. I had Dude Ranch before it came out. I was 12 years old when Enema came out. Like, dude, I there's like 6 moments in my life that are photographed in my brain. Like when we toured Japan for the first time, when I saw the Sistine Chapel, and one of them was being at a sleepover at my friend's house and waking up to Much Music at the time, because we didn't get much music was the Canada's version of MTV.
Okay.
And it was not available in the US very frequently. And they were playing and premiering What's My Age Again. And I woke up at 4 a.m. to the beginning intro guitar riff. And I can smell and taste and exactly place myself when that happened. There was something about that song when it came out. The video, the riff, the joking nature, the making fun of everything, that was just like, I feel like if that song, and they could not have broke at any other time other than the exact time that they broke.
Yeah. It was just all the stars aligning, perfect timing, wasn't it?
Yeah, I know. I feel it, man. What's My Age Again? So good.
And I guess that leads me on to the next area of conversation. So I know that you covered What's My Age Again. I guess it's when you're under the name The Space Pimps, right?
Yeah, we did.
But I guess I just want to talk about Eternal Boy a little bit before, and like maybe go through the history, sort of just will guide the listeners through it quickly. But is there anything happening with Eternal Boy at the minute? I remember you had a record in 2021, I think was the last one I was aware of that you had coming out. Has there been much happening band wise since then?
Yeah, so independent band, you take things in stride and you grind away. We in 2021 released Bad Days Are Over. During the pandemic, couldn't tour. We sat on that record since 2020. We thought we had to get it out at that point, so we released it during the pandemic. Did really well. We got on the ballot to be nominated for Grammys for 3 of them, which was ridiculous. Don't know how that happened.
Insane.
Yeah, it's one of those. I mean, we weren't on the ballot like go to Grammys, but there's a pre-ballot that you get nominated for that we did, which was cool. Then pandemic kind of started lifting, and we got really active again last year. We toured with Mest, we toured with Unwritten Law and Authority Zero. We toured a lot with a band called Driveways from Boston, who are on the up and up.
Yeah,
it's a band they're going to explode any moment. They're going to explode. It's an anomaly. We talk about that band, how well they do. We recorded a new record. So we recorded a brand new record in New York, or New Jersey, northern New Jersey, New York City, with Chris Badami, who did the Early November, did the Starting Line, did Alistair songs, did a lot of the stuff that we grew up on. So we have that we're finishing up. We'll finish it up by the end of September. Awesome. We have some stuff we're hoping to announce very soon internationally here in the next month or so. And then we will release the record in early spring. We've got some touring with Driveways again in November, December, and then we are going to do a whole new record, whole album cycle starting in early spring or early 2024.
Awesome. Okay, so there's stuff happening. I'm really pleased to hear that. That's really cool.
Right.
Just take me back to the early days very briefly. So obviously it was Space Pimps at the time. You mentioned you've because you covered Cadillac, so you formed in high school then, presumably.
Yeah, me and my best friend from high school, we started the band together, just to fuck around, covering songs, playing at our high school, trying to get girls to like us by being in a band.
Yeah,
and I mean, we were surprisingly, I look back, and like most bands, you're like, oh man, I'm so embarrassed of what we did. I mean, I'm embarrassed of our name. We got stuck with very early, the Space Pimps.
It happens, that kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah. but we were really good. I mean, even to start out, I mean, humbly, I believe that we were better than, you know, a 16, 17-year-olds playing. And I guess it kind of showed. By 17, we were touring. We did some of our early shows with some bigger bands that ended up breaking. By 18,
like who?
We played early on with Hit the Lights a lot. We played early on with All Time Low a lot. We played early on with a band called Transition from Pittsburgh, the lead singer. You know Transition?
Sorry to cut in. If I'm thinking of the right band, that's so weird because I was just thinking about that. You know, when you're in bed and you have random thoughts or whatever. Like last night, I was thinking they're not the band. Do they do a record with Mike Herrera?
Yes.
Yeah. I was thinking about because that record, I didn't love the record overall, but there were 3 songs that I loved on it, and like there was one that was very Atari sounding that Mike was on, like wait, I'll wait for the winter. I was thinking about that in bed last night.
Yeah. Mike sings on that song. He sings on the song.
Yeah, they do. The
Transition was from Pittsburgh, where we're from.
Yeah.
And dude, are you ready for this story? This is not. I didn't even know about this till like 2 years ago.
Go on.
Dan from Transition, the lead singer, a band from Pittsburgh. They signed a Christian label called Floodgate Records. They toured, like we grinded. We were like always at each other's, you know, not throats, but like we're always constructively competing with each other. Yeah. Dude, Dan Smyers, the lead singer, is the lead singer or in the country Grammy-winning duo Dan and Shay. Dan and Shay is he's the biggest country songwriter, producer, biggest country band on the planet. Dan Smyers was in a pop punk band from Pittsburgh. Mike Herrera produced his record.
I didn't know that was the same Dan. That's insane.
It's insane. Wow. Yes, it's so we early on we did a lot. We really in Pittsburgh there was a band here called Punchline, which I'm sure you've heard of.
Yeah, that we've had Steve on the show before. Like
hell yeah.
Yeah, we're long-time fans of theirs, and I saw they were playing at the festival as well.
Yeah, I mean, Punchline's from Pittsburgh. We're from Pittsburgh. We looked up to them. We followed them. They helped us a lot. So we started off really quickly. We just played shows every single weekend in Pittsburgh, and then when we went to college, we were still doing it full time. And then I remember my sophomore year in college, we got signed to a label in Japan called Kick Rock Music, which, unbeknownst to me, released all of the big records in Japan. And we toured there for the first time with the Swellers.
Because they were, if I'm remembering correctly, I don't know if this is name, but maybe this was after you changed your name, but you had a song that they featured on, I remember.
Yeah. That's fun.
Being on the road with my friends. I really liked this song at the time. Yeah. Sorry, the name escapes me, I'm afraid. But,
it's called The Glory Days.
That's it.
It was, that's awesome. It makes me feel so good hearing you say that. So we toured with the Swellers. They got signed to Fueled, and then we released our last record under the Space Pimps. It was called Eternal Boy.
Right.
So so there's a cookie trail for people that love the Space Pimps to find us if that's indeed it. But that's so funny. Yeah, I love that. I love that song. I wrote that song in China when we toured China. And then anyway, so we did that, and then you know, as it's tough to be an independent band, it's not for the faint of heart. We went through some lineup changes at the end of the Space Pimps, in which case I said, you know, by 2016, 2017, I was like, yo, let's make the jump. It's long overdue. I was already 28, 29 at that point. And I was like, you know, we got to make the change. We were losing opportunities. We met with every record. Again, the Eternal Boy Space Pimp curse is that we've met with every single record label you could think of. We've turned things down. We've been denied. I've been told that you need to lose 10 pounds, you know, at round tables and major labels. And by the end of it, I was just like, fuck it, dude. Like, we don't need any of this. We can make our own inways. We can tour with bands that we love. We can do our own festivals. We can start our own label. So I started Four Chord Music, the record label, in 2017. Yeah. And I obviously released the Eternal Boy record. I released a band called A Summer High that blew up pretty big for a while. And then I released one of my favorite bands from Canada. They're called Harbor, and then changed their name to Fortune Cove.
Yep. Familiar.
And so things just, I'm just very big on the mentality at this point in my life is that I waited too long for the big magical hand to come pick me up and bring us to the promised land. You can't do that. You got to do it yourself. So, and that's kind of the evolution of the band, is just rooted in DIY ethos the whole way through.
Yeah, completely. Just jumping back real quick, because I know you kind of had a bit of a thing in Japan, did quite well there. Like, what were those tours in Japan like? And
man,
follow up to that, also you toured China as well. So I'm curious what that was like as well.
Yeah, we got so lucky. I got a MySpace message in 2007 or 8 from this guy named Masa, who was the A&R guy at Kick Rock Music. Said he loved our stuff, he wanted to release it, and of course, you got to pre-screen that. So that's how it started. They released our first Space Pimps record, which was called Turn It Up. And then right when they released it, they were like, hey, do you want to come play this festival in Japan? We'll pay for your plane tickets. We'll do the whole thing. And I was like 18, 19. I was like,
amazing.
Mom and Dad, can I go? And so we went, and it was, inexplicable. I mean, our records in stores, cardboard cutouts of us in stores. Wow. Lines around the door. I mean, at the time, like the Japanese scene was like 5 years behind. So like they were loving like the old school early 2000s pop punk shit in 2009 when in America it was like the neon V-neck Cobra Starship bullshit that was out, So that went unbelievable. And through that, we met a big promoter in China. It was called Hot Pop Music, and they asked us to come play a festival there where we played the largest crowd that will ever play in front of. There's 20,000 people at a festival we played in China. We went back to Japan twice. We went back to China. And then finally, in terms of international, we got Patent Pending, who are our best friends in the States. They brought us on tour in the UK twice now. So
is it twice? Yeah, because I know you were here in 2019. I did want to go because, as you can tell, I'm a fan of your music, and I like them too. For whatever reason, I couldn't. But
where in the UK are you?
So I'm just outside of, at the time I was in London. I now live in Surrey. I'm sort of like half an hour outside of London. So I'm London still, really. I'm near a place called Kingston, which has a big music scene. But historically, I was always in East London. So you came with Patent Pending in 2019. When was the other time with them?
We came right when we changed the band name in 2017. So we were there 2017 and 2019, right, like this summer before the pandemic started. It went unbelievably. I owe so much to Patent Pending and Joe and Anthony and Corey and everybody in that band. I will be forever grateful to them. And then they asked us to come back again. It went even better. It's just difficult when you don't have a proper agent over there. So we're trying to bum rides with other friends' bands at that point. But yeah, it went great, man. I absolutely love the UK. I have a lot of family in the UK, actually.
Oh, you do?
But I love the UK so much. It's such a great place. Everybody's so cool. The scenes are very, very robust, much more robust than we have here. So
okay. Any places that stood out that you liked in particular?
I loved Norwich.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. It was like we were playing. The venue was like in between where their soccer stadium was, and we were playing the day there was a soccer game, and they do this like march from like the bars all the way over to the soccer stadium. That is in my brain. I loved Manchester, where the university was. We played it at the academy there, and then the coolest show we played was in Birmingham, which was at the O2 as well, which was fucking nuts, dude. Nuts.
Oh, no. Was that the O2 Institute or the main O2?
It was, there's 3 rooms, right? In the O2 there?
Yeah.
We played the middle room. We played not the small room, not the large room. We played the middle room. So it was, I just love the UK so much. I mean, I'm half Indian.
Yeah, I noticed from your name, I was wondering if you had some Indian heritage.
I do. My dad's 100% Indian. My mom's from Pittsburgh in America, but I obviously am so white, it's impossible to tell that I'm actually Indian. But I have a ton of family. My Indian side of the family is all in the UK, and the Indian population in the UK is so robust too, right? That,
for sure.
It's just, I just love the UK so much, man. It's a great place.
What region of India is your dad's?
My dad's from Kenya, actually, in Africa.
Oh, okay. Is he good? Is he Gujarati?
We're Punjab, so we're from the Punjab province.
Okay,
but he's the youngest of 6, and his family moved from India to Kenya for his dad's job, and then he was born in Kenya for that. Went to medical school in Uganda, during the Idi Amin era. He's got some crazy stories about Idi Amin.
I can imagine.
But he's super into music too. You know, like he ran the longest standing Indian radio show for community service in Pennsylvania called Music for India for 35 plus years. So, I mean, he comes and supports all of our shows. He came to Four Chord. My mom and dad came to Four Chord.
That's awesome.
It's awesome to see them there. But like everybody knows who my mom and dad are because it's the brown guy and the white woman.
The white woman. Nice. No, it's fun. My wife's British Indian, so she's Gujarati, but her dad's from Uganda. Like it was kind of like, so there's similar stories.
No shit.
Yeah. Like so.
Oh my God.
Him and his siblings and his parents. It was during the Idi Amin stuff as well. So
you're kidding me.
Yeah. So you know,
where in Uganda is her family from?
You
can answer me later. I was just curious.
Yeah, I'll have to get back to you on that one. But yeah, that's why when you said your dad was from Kenya, because I know that Gujaratis are in Kenya as well. But you know,
look at that. So you know all about Indian culture. Did you have an Indian wedding?
I did, but yeah. We were really lucky. So we were getting married. It was supposed to be late 2020, so it was obviously, but well within the pandemic and postponed several times. And then we eventually got married summer of 21. But yeah, so it was a huge Indian wedding on the Saturday, then a huge Western wedding on the Sunday. So. and we were lucky in that because COVID was still, you know, very prominent at that time, but like everyone was able to come and it was awesome.
That's awesome. Yeah, I got married in 2018, 2019, okay. 2018. Yeah. And I have such a big family. We just signed papers. Like I could not do the Indian wedding. I could never.
Really?
And she's American. My wife's, her name's Kate. She's American, but dude, I could never do an Indian wedding. God bless you. If there is a God, God bless you.
Was your dad chill about that? Is he not? He wasn't pushing for it too much.
I mean, my dad's the only one in his family that married a white woman. So I mean, he can't.
Yeah, fair enough.
Oh man,
no, that's really cool. That's
Dude, we got a lot to talk about outside of this podcast now.
Yeah,
Jeez.
I know, man. I know. Yeah, a lot of common ground.
Favorite Indian dishes, favorite Indian prayers, favorite Diwali, favorite all that stuff, dude.
Exactly, a lot of ground to cover, man. Here's a random one that I had written down on the Eternal Boy stuff. Did you ever forgive Newfound Glory for ripping off one of your riffs a couple of years ago?
What riff are we talking about?
So you have to forgive me. I can't remember which song.
That's okay.
I can't remember what song of yours it was, but it was their song. I think it's called "Stay a While." It was a single from their 2020 album.
I'm usually accused of the one stealing other bands' riffs. I'll take that any day of the week as a win. I'll take a look. We Stay a While. What record is that off? Resurrection?
No, it's off Forever and Ever Times Infinity.
Forever and Ever Time.
But there was some people talk about online, and it was definitely a thing where people were like, that's like an Eternal Boy riff.
Writing that down too. Listen to that right after.
Yeah.
Wild Newfound Glory.
Like I think the song's really different, but just the main there's a I can't remember if it's the intro riff or whatever. There's a bit in it when it's just like, oh wow, okay.
Well, I'd be flattered if they did, but I'm positive they probably didn't.
Maybe
if anything, I have ripped more things off of them than I should probably be admitting to. So,
have you crossed paths with them much? Have they played your festival, or have you toured with them at all?
They have not played our festival. We played with them on numerous occasions. On Warped Tour, we played a few college shows with them. We played some festivals with them. But my interaction with them, the nicest people I've ever. I mean, we hung out with Cyrus and Ian. And though maybe they don't remember me, they made such a big impact on how cool they were to the opening bands. Like they were really, really fucking cool. So I love that band. My top 5 favorite band of all time. So
nice. Yeah, we've had Cyrus. I mean, you know, I'm saying this all in good fun because that is actually off a Newfound Glory record that I absolutely love. And we've had Cyrus on the show, and yeah, I would echo what you said there. He was a very nice chap, I thought. Yeah. Completely.
So you've got a lot of big people on this podcast. I saw some of it, but I mean, I didn't know the extent to all of
it. Yeah, we've had some decent bookings over the years. Yeah, there's been some.
Why the fuck am I on it? Okay.
Nah, don't be silly, man. You know, you're an integral part of the scene. You know, not just
you using those college words, man. You got to chill with that.
Yeah, tell me about. So you mentioned that you're a college professor. Like, tell me a little bit about your academic career and how that came about, and how you kind of balance that alongside being in a independent band.
Yeah, I mean, I tried to think, what job could I have that's going to pay good money and give me 6 months a year off? And truth be told, my sister became a college professor. I kind of followed her path, I guess. But my whole family are doctors. My mom's is in nursing. My dad's a medical doctor. I have tons of cousins. They're all doctors. It was kind of in my DNA to be a doctor, a medical doctor. But I think that the cool thing about being in school and being in college was that every time I would go out on the road, we would play hundreds of shows a year. I'd come back home and I'd still have it like I'd still have something substantive that I was working towards that was worthwhile. So I kind of took it literally, and I did 4 years of college, went directly into my master's and directly into my PhD. And by the time I was 26, I had my PhD. I started being a full-time college professor, and I could tour even more starting at 26, 27 than ever before. So it was cool. I mean, I feel like being a college professor, at least the teaching part, not the research part, but the teaching part is, it's like right in my alley. I don't teach traditionally. I am the social pariah at the universities that I teach at here. I'm tenure track at one university. I've taught at all other universities in Pittsburgh, but and so my classes are generally tuned the way that I perform, which is in your face, really offensive, and trying to get the attention of the audience, whether that's a student or a fan. But I love teaching. I love that I get to do it all. My parents were always like, oh, you gotta get a job that's gonna like have a good reputation for you and make money. And I'm all like, oh, but I want to be creative and be in a band. And now I get to do both.
Oh, yeah. So you're probably living the dream. So look, what's home life look like for you at the minute when the festival, when it's the festival's not happening and you're not in the very last run up to the festival and Eternal Boy's not on tour? Like, what keeps you busy? And what's a sort of typical day?
Great questions. I don't like talking about myself, and I really don't like doing podcasts, but this is a really cool one, so I like it.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
I do. It's really, really, really good. Really relaxing, really fun. Great questions. We just my wife and I built a house right before the pandemic, so we moved in like right when the world shut down. We're heavily, heavily, heavily involved in the local animal shelter community. So we have, we're really big on rescue dogs and raising money. We partner with one of my favorite nonprofits in Pittsburgh called Biggie's Bullies, which is a foster-based pit bull rescue in Pittsburgh. So we're always trying to, figure out how we can help that community. But generally, I teach Mondays and Wednesdays. I have a research day Tuesdays, and I'm off Thursdays and Fridays from being a professor. So it is such a good gig. But I'm always working. I'm always thinking. Four Chord ended 10, 12 days ago. The Monday after Four Chord was over on Sunday, I'm emailing agents about 2024. I'm booking studio time to finish vocals on our new record. Our drummer Mike is a professional tour manager, so he TMs. Yeah, he TMs for. He just did the Youngblood tour. He was the TM for the Regrets, which was the band, the main support band. He's TMing in the fall for a band called Point North.
They're Hopeless Records. Just had a new album out. Yeah, pretty big
just
now.
Came out last week. Just came out. They got a big radio push. He's TM for a band from the UK called Waster.
They're kind of very much in the sort of neck deep sort of lane, aren't they? From Liverpool.
Yeah, not my thing, but certainly cool that.
Yeah, no, that's cool that he's doing that, and it's good for them doing well. But I have an issue with those UK bands that try and sound American, let the Americans do it.
We talk about that sometimes, about all that UK world. But yeah, so he does that. He's younger than us. He's in his late 20s, or I guess he's going to be 27 or so. So he's a little more spry for being on the road for 200 days a year. Our bass player Joe is he has a degree in mathematics, and he works at a tech company from home. So we have a lot of flexibility. It's what's awesome. So great about the dynamic of our band. We can go on tour and go on the road and come home and not be broke. It's a great balance. But the band is self-sufficient at this point, so we don't worry about any of that stuff. But yeah, it's a good gig, man. I mean, my normal day is constantly working on Four Chord, constantly working on the band, and constantly, teaching. And then, I very little time to relax, but you always have to find time in the day to relax. So I like playing video games. That's weird. I don't know if you're a video game guy.
I'm not so much myself, but I know lots of people who are. It's funny, right. Like our generation, like, I felt like our parents at our age wouldn't play video games, but it's very common for people our age to do it because it was such a thing for us growing up. And
yeah, totally. No, totally. Yeah. And we've got I'm looking out, like we've got 8 acres of land where we built our house. And even though we're only 12 minutes from downtown Pittsburgh, so it's really cool. So that was a huge culture shock whenever we moved here, and that takes up a lot of our time, unfortunately. I lived in a high rise for 13 years before we moved here, and where we had no lawn, no nothing. You know what I mean? But I have to pinch myself every day, honestly, Chris. I have to pinch myself every day. I know Eternal Boy's not the biggest band in the world, and that's okay. I think that I just think that I am such a lucky human being. I don't know what I did in my previous life, not to allude to Hinduism. I do not know what I did in my previous life to deserve what I have now, but I have an amazing support system. My wife is unbelievable. She's in cardiothoracic transplant surgery. My parents are supportive and have supported my ridiculous ideas for years. My friends are supportive. My bandmates are great. I just don't know. I wish I could explain it, but all I can say is my last life, I must have done something really cool.
Yeah, let me pick you up in your Insta bio. So you said, apart from Four Chord or whatever, so we've got animals listed, which I guess I don't really need to ask you about because you mentioned the shelter stuff. So I assume that's alluding to that, I guess.
I am because I'm a Hindu and we are from Punjab province. I am a vegetarian since birth as well. So
lovely. Yeah. I mean, my wife and I are vegetarians as well. So yeah. Can not since birth in my case, but for a long time. But that's cool since birth.
Awesome.
Man. Nice. See, I like that as well. So you're not like one of these people like, I love animals, but I also love eating them. So no hypocrisy here.
It's tough to pull vegan. I tried many times. I love cheese so much, but we get our cheese. We try to get our cheese from like not abused cows. And that's our goal, right? So like my goal is by like 55, I've sold Four Chord for $1 billion. We're retired and we've got 10 acres and we're going to do a rescue farm for like big farm animals to be rescued from big meat factories.
Oh, I love that. That's amazing. I love that. That's a great goal to work towards.
We'll see what happens.
We've also got horror movies in there. So obviously you must be a horror movie nut. I wouldn't say I was, but I am partial to the odd horror film. What are some of your favorites?
Oh God, I love horror movies. So it depends what level of horror we're talking about. I mean, if I'm talking to a horror movie connoisseur, there's a level below the horror movies that you would know that some are sick, some shouldn't even have been made. My favorite horror movie of the popular series, we'll go away from the underground for a second. The Exorcist is one of the greatest horror movies ever made. My favorite horror movie slasher movie series is probably Michael Myers and Halloween. Halloween is like the greatest month. That October is just so fun. But I mean, I absolutely love horror movies. I don't know what it is. It's the thrill. It's like you're almost like gambling. You're like you're at a casino and you're like you're throwing the die. It's like, oh man, like am I going to get scared? So I love most horror movies. I don't like funny, goofy horror movies.
Okay, what's an example of the one sort of below the level? Just wondered I would have heard.
One of the most messed up movies I've ever seen in my life that I don't recommend anybody. I won't even comment on that one. I'll comment on one that could be seen. It's a French film that they did in English, but you should watch the French one. It's called Martyrs.
Yeah, I haven't seen it, but I thought that's what you were going to say when you said the French.
Oh, cool. Yeah,
I hear it. Yeah, I've heard things, but yeah, go on.
It's sick. It's sick. It's very gory. It's very, very fucked up. And there's like a overarching theme that if you pull away from all that gore is very, very, very perverse and kind of how the way the world works. So that movie is disgustingly good. So that is, I saw I guess I'll mention. I didn't know what I was watching when I got it. It's called a Serbian film.
Oh,
which
again, I haven't seen it, but I know what it is. So yeah.
Oh, yeah. Dude, I wish I would have known what I was getting into. That's something I would never watch again. That is on the verge of too fucked up to even, exist. And these obviously can't really exist in the States because it would never, be permitted. Then there's, there's a few other ones too. Maybe we'll start a horror movie podcast.
Yeah, you should, man. And then obviously we mentioned this earlier, but Taylor Swift's the other thing in your bio. So tell me how you got into Taylor Swift, and then I'm curious to see what era of Taylor Swift is your favorite.
Yeah, so Taylor Swift I got into late. I thought that she sucked early on. My girlfriend at the time, my now wife, was very into Taylor, and she asked me to go to one of her concerts. I think it was for the Fearless tour.
Okay, going back a while,
yeah, and I was very impressed by the stage performance, the mastery. Like, she's mastery level of an entertainer. And I said at that point, I was like, man, I really hope she releases like a more pop record. And boom, here comes Red. So I'm a Red era. But I love 1989 and Red. Red is absolutely one of the best records ever written, in my opinion. And so much so, dude, so at Four Chord this year, it just so happens, all of the concert goers at Four Chord caught wind that I'm a Taylor fan, and they made hundreds and hundreds of these bracelets that they do at all the Taylor shows. And like, it says like all of the band's names on it, and like names of bands, like Streetlight Manifesto is on this one. It's got A Long Year. It's got Eternal Boy on it. So like,
nice.
I think Taylor Swift is kind of, there's some things recently that I don't really appreciate about her. I really don't. I could talk to you for hours about the Live Nation Ticketmaster merger thing. But I really don't appreciate these big artists allowing Live Nation and Ticketmaster to control. I think that she controls everything from her Spotify revenue to her Apple Music revenue. Why the fuck would she allow Ticketmaster to just price gouge?
Yeah, so interesting.
Yeah, she didn't have to do that. She's powerful enough to not make that happen. But as a performer, as an entrepreneur, I think that she is. There's nobody that I'd rather write a song with, have a conversation, and have a non-alcoholic bottle of sparkling champagne with than Taylor Swift.
Yeah, she is incredible. She's incredible. I mean, I wouldn't, I'm not a super fan or anything, but I really admire her and like a lot of her music.
Nice.
Listen, Rishi, we've been going for an hour now, so I think we can probably start to wrap this up in a sec.
Cool.
This has been cool because I could leave this going for another couple of hours at least. But we usually finish these things with like just some sort of quick fire questions. So pretty generic, but I'm going to try and off the top of my head throw in some kind of very sort of 2000s pop punk oriented ones as well, just for my.
You want me to answer quickly too?
No, you can take as much time as you like, to be fair. But first one, have you ever seen a ghost?
No.
That's nice and easy.
I could give an explanation. I mean, do I believe in ghosts? I don't know what I believe at this point in my life. I had a dream last night. Actually, I don't remember any of my dreams. I had a dream last night that there was a ghost in our house. That's so fucking weird. Actually, now that I think about that. Have I experienced weird things? Yeah. Do I think most things can be explained through science? Yes.
Yeah. That's probably where I stand on it as well. And it's funny, like, I don't know if I should keep asking that question because one, I'm stealing it from other podcasts and their quick fire section. And two, like sometimes when I ask someone and they're like, yes. And then I'm like, well, tell me about it. And it's normally a long story. And then it's like the quick fire thing. I was talking to that band. I was talking to that band Beauty School Dropout a couple of months ago, and I asked that question. One of them was just like, yes. And he just went, and to be fair, he was answering my question. I'm like, yeah, okay.
That's the Mark Hoppus band, right?
It is. Yeah.
Dude, you're famous, man. You got to come out to Four Chord. You got to come out. Do a live, dude. Do a live podcast at Four Chord. You'll be the Four Chord pit reporter, and you can handle the social media. You can do a podcast. We'll pay your way out here. Dude, it'll be awesome.
Mate, I would be 1,000% up for that.
Dude, so I'm not even bullshitting you. Not even bullshitting you.
That would be amazing. But maybe we could fire some emails over the next few weeks about that because thank you. I really appreciate that offer.
100%.
Favorite TV show?
Oh God. Game of Thrones.
Favorite non-horror movie?
Usual Suspects and Empire Records.
Favorite? You don't have to pick one because there's so many contenders of different regions and stuff. But favorite Indian food?
Oh God, paneer.
Has to be, right? Like, it's like some form of paneer, like chili paneer, like is just like the dream
okay.
dish.
Mutter paneer, paneer makhni. But as you know, Indian food in restaurants is not the same as Indian food made at home, which is much healthier.
I know.
Than the cream-filled, butter-filled dishes that they give. In restaurants.
It's so different. I mean, there's a couple of areas around London where you can go and it will be very different and a lot more authentic to whatever region it's
what? Wait. Southall?
Yes. Yeah. That's where I went to get my Indian wedding outfit, and they have some amazing restaurants there. Did you get out there when you were in London?
I did. So I was the best man when I was in 5th grade for one of my cousin's weddings in the UK. And I remember being so heavily influenced by going to Southall. I remember I had one of the best sugarcane Indian drinks of my life at a restaurant called Sacconi's.
Sacconi, I went there for my lunch the day I got that outfit, and I've been back. And then I went to get another outfit. I went with my mother-in-law because my brother-in-law was getting married last summer, and I went Sacconi's, man. Yeah.
Dude, Sacconi's is legit. I remember my dad bought my mom saris and so on and so forth to wear at the wedding too, man. I mean, I've got some great memories of Southall. When I was there. I want to go back. I've always wanted to go back, but it never works out because we've got a show. Then we were in London, and then we had to drive to Glasgow. So it was didn't
have that time. Yeah.
Dude, if you lived in the States or I lived in the UK, I think we'd be best friends.
I feel like there's a very strong possibility of that. Yeah, I'm loving this. Right, let me just fire a couple of pop punk oriented ones, and then I think we can really wrap this up.
Cool.
Alistair or Show Off?
Alistair. Last Stop Suburbia is one of the best pop punk records of the drive-thru era. Love Show Off. Love Falling Star was one of the first pop punk songs I got into. Yeah. I have that record. The record cracked and it still works. I got it when I was 12. But I got to go with Alistair.
Who would you rather tour with, Eve 6 or Good Charlotte?
Good Charlotte. I feel like it'd be more fun to go with Eve 6. I love Eve 6. I feel like they're probably more down to earth. No. I hope they don't hear this. Than Good Charlotte, but it'd be Good Charlotte.
Yeah, that Max from Eve 6, who we've had on the show as well, met a long time ago, but he's just become an internet celebrity. I feel like, I don't know if you follow his Twitter and stuff, and he
just makes funniest
guy. He's so funny, man.
Dude, here's to the Night's maybe one of the best songs ever written. I don't know.
Oh yeah, no, it's a brilliant pop song.
Yeah.
If Eternal Boy could tour with, let's say, 3 bands from that genre, who are we picking? You can have anyone.
In 2023 or in 2003?
Let's say in 2023.
We're taking away the big dogs like Blink. More of the niche.
Yeah. Let's take away the big. Sorry. This question is not thought out properly.
It's okay. Bands. I'm not basing it on draw, on how big the bands would draw anymore. It would be the Ataris, it would be Jimmy Eat World, and it would be Homegrown.
I noticed you had a Homegrown poster in one of your recent videos. Well, I say recent, a couple of years ago, when you had all the posters in.
It was I'm looking at it right now. It's the Drive-Thru Records showcase they did in 2001 or 2 with Homegrown, Movie Life, RX Bandits, the Benjamins, Something Corporate, Starting Line, Finch, Juliana Theory, and Thursday.
What a lineup that is. And I like that the Benjamins are in there. Do you remember that?
Dude. Yeah. Dude, I remember all those bands. I remember when Phoenix TX was River Phoenix and signed a Drive-Thru.
Amazing. Proper old school. Who? Give me 2 bands from this genre who you think were underrated, who should have been who should have been big time. And
Punchline during the Action era, that band should have blown up. And over it.
Oh, I think I told you on when we were arranging this, because you couldn't do the one day, and then you asked if I could do the next day. But Peter, the singer from Over It, he was in London, and me and my wife went out for dinner with him and his wife.
Oh no shit!
Yeah. He's kind of, and I know him from the show as well, but we kind of have become friends, and like it's weird because we just would WhatsApp each other after he was on the show, and like I don't know if it's because his wife's of Indian background as well, and we kind of in a weird way bonded over that a little bit, and like now we're buddies, and like I hung out with him a whole bunch the other week, which was awesome.
Is he doing music anyway? I thought they were criminally underrated.
So no, it's crazy. So he works in animation. He kind of like does like the vocal booths and the mixing and stuff. So he works on all these huge shows. But a couple of the other guys from the band are like pop songwriters. Like if you look up Ryan, who was in Over It and then became the singer and Runner,
and Don't Look Down, right?
Yeah, and Don't Look Down, of course. Have a look at his Wikipedia after this. It'll blow your mind. Like, so he writes like Nicki Minaj and Backstreet Boys and people like that. And then Nick Bailey, who's Over It as well. He's a big pop songwriter as well. But Peter wants to get back into doing music, but he hasn't done it for a while. And I feel like he needs to.
When Silver Strand came out, even the record before Silver Strand, it was on Lobster Records.
Yeah,
I was
your timing is everything.
Dude, oh my God, Crush and Serial Kisser. I think that them and Punchline, I think it was happenstance. I think that Over It signed to a major way too quickly. When that happened, and that record that the one where the piece of the sky is falling out.
Step Outside Yourself.
Step Outside Yourself.
Yeah,
it just missed the mark. It didn't get the love that the major label that an indie would have given it. I never understood how that band got A&R'd to hell, really, in terms of their label. They were on Virgin. They signed a Virgin.
Yeah,
during the same time where the Space Pimps, we were talking to Virgin at the exact same time, I remember.
Really?
And I saw that happen with Over It, and we were like, then their VP of A&R got fired, and it was just like, but in all honesty, I think that going to Punchline now, I think Action by Punchline, 37 Everywhere by Punchline, those records are the most underrated, most criminally underrated. And the reason, there are a million reasons I'm sure Steve could answer, and Chris and all those dudes could answer why it happened, but it had to have something to do with Fall Out Boy. Signing and fueled at like the same time, and the money and resources go into that. So, and that's another joke in Pittsburgh. Every band that Punchline brought on tour, they got huge. They brought Fall Out Boy on their first tour, got huge. Cute as It Wayne for on their first tour, got huge. Paramore on their first tour, got huge.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, sorry, that was a long preamble.
No, that
Over It and Punchline.
That's a great answer. Like my answer to that question, and I wonder if you know these guys as well. Like you probably toured with them, but were you ever into Quiet Drive? Did you like that band?
Oh, maybe Misery, one of the best songs, dude.
I just think that guy is such a good songwriter, and I love all those Quiet Drive records. And I feel like I listen to it, I'm like, this could be like proper mainstream radio rock easily, Dude,
maybe Misery was. I agree. And again, why did that band fail? Because they signed straight to a major.
Yeah,
they signed straight to a major,
wasn't it? Yeah,
yeah. So they missed the whole development stage. They didn't go A, B, C, D, E, F, G. They went A to G. I mean, and that can work sometimes, but most of the times you'll notice it does not work. You need that indie in between, which is why Over It, it's like they did it. They did the Lobster thing, they did the Warped Tour thing. So yeah, man, that's a good answer. What's your other one?
Oh, I just had Quiet Drive, so I don't know who would be my other one.
I don't know how deep your pop punk DIY-ness goes from the early 2000s.
Throw some names at me, and you can see.
There's a band we're friends with from the UK called The Bottom Line right now. But there was a band from Cincinnati in the United States called The Bottom Line that got signed to Maverick, and Feldman did the record. And then
nothing as real as if it ever was. Yeah.
Bro, I just got chills. You're the only person that I know other than 3 people in Pittsburgh that would even know that band.
I loved that band, and I mean, nothing against The Bottom Line, because
I love those guys.
They were always the last band I was in many years ago. They were very nice about us, basically. So I've got no beef against them. But I would say they are guilty of doing the fake American accent thing, which I would say to their face if I was with them. So I'm nothing against them personally. But
what band were you in?
This was a band called Spineless Yes Men at the time, which was
Yes Man.
It was
one UK band that I just got that just sent me. I just saw in where are you? Of course, they're not on here. Some UK band that just sent me their stuff that I was like very impressed with. There's a female drummer.
What they
lead singer looks like Chris Carrabba from Dashboard Confessional.
Oh,
Honey something maybe. Honey. I'm gonna have to look at it and get back to you. I don't want to.
Yeah, dude. Yeah,
I'll look up and get back to you.
Yeah, message me. Let me know. But bottom line from Ohio, yeah, like I know because they did stuff with Feldman. Some of it you could hear online, and it sounded great. I was I don't know.
Feldman stuff you can hear.
Yeah, I'll send you a couple of links. There's only like 2 songs I found, and obviously the other stuff exists. And I was messaging. Do you know DJ Rostar? He used to have a.
Yeah.
Because he loves that band, and he gave me like the email from one of Bottom Line, and I did try and hit them up, and I was like, I loved your band from back in the day. You don't have any files of any of those Feldman songs apart from the ones on YouTube. But I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll hunt out the ones that I know are out there, and I'll send over to you. And
love that.
I'll also send you my guys that I was talking about earlier, Love Breakers. There,
love it.
I'll send you a little advance of the new record that's just been done.
Love it. What about? Do you remember a band called Lucky 7?
Of course, California girl,
dude. How are
Misfortune.
you in existence? How are you in existence? I literally sit here by myself and listen. I'm gonna go one step deeper. Well, first of all, Off by One.
Yeah. They had the what was On My Way was the best song. Yeah, that was the best song on that. I had that album. Yeah.
Oh my god. I can't believe that I'm talking to a human being that knows these bands. There is a band that to this day, they have the worst recordings. They were the biggest band on mp3.com when I was like 10.
Yeah.
I've never met a human being on this planet but one person who's in a band called Better Luck Next Time from California that we toured with in Japan.
Yeah.
They were called Nothing to Lose.
Oh, Nothing to Lose, man. Yeah. What's the song? Just because you think that I'm a waste of time,
dude. No fucking
way.
No fucking way. Do you know that band? It's called On My Own.
That's it. And and this was going back to about 2011. There was a platform called Groove Shark. I don't know if you remember it. It was just a thing for streaming music. It wasn't legal, and you could just go on it. And so I would search for things on that, and it had the most obscure stuff. And I was just like, oh, I wonder if there's any other songs by Nothing to Lose, because I only ever knew that song that we're talking about. And they had a whole EP by them on it.
I got the whole thing.
You've got it. Yeah. As you say, it's not great production, but still had.
Dude,
On My Own was the best song, but the others there was some good stuff on it though.
Dude, I re-recorded that entire song on my own, like in my own interface at home, to like fit a more up-to-date recording that. I'm never going to release it. I did it just for me because nobody would know who it is, right? I mean, it's
dude. Can you like throw it up on SoundCloud and send me a private link? I would appreciate it. You found your audience for that,
dude. You are blowing my fucking mind right now. I have never met human beings that knew these bands in my whole life. Nobody. Nothing to Lose was like that song On My Own was a life-changing song for me. And I don't know where they are anymore. I have no idea where they are.
Yeah. I had that song because I had a Nice Guy Records compilation like in the early 2000s, which is how I knew. Say again? Pop Punk Fever. Yeah, that was it. I found it just in a record shop. I think it was in Bristol or somewhere like that. And I was like, Pop Punk Fever, I'll get that.
Student Rick was on there, and Juliana Theory was on there.
Yep.
Dude, you are blowing. You have an Indian wife. You know all of the pop punk songs that I grew up listening to that nobody knows about. This is this is too much.
This is a friendship that was meant to be, I reckon, man. Yeah, I'll tell Peter Munters. Sorry, man, we're done.
Romance is over with Peter. Now it's Rishi.
Exactly. I've moved on. But yeah, listen, man. I've taken up a lot of your time this morning, but this has been thoroughly enjoyable,
dude. So crazy. I'm like, oh, dude, I got one more for you.
Go on.
I'm still friends with one of the guys in this band. They were my top 5 small band that nobody ever heard of. They were called Game Time.
Game Time. Not Game Time. They weren't from
Kansas City, Missouri.
Yeah, Kansas City. Yeah, what's the guy called? I do know. Don't tell me.
Gabe?
Don't tell me. No. Is there a guy called Kyle Devlin? Kyle Devlin. Is that his band? Yeah.
Yeah, he just came to. We just played in St. Louis with Mest, and Kyle came out to the show.
Oh, that's sick, man. Yeah, no, Kyle, like he's always like this podcast, like he's always giving it a like and stuff. Like, so I've known who he is for a while. And he put out and I can't believe I forgot to talk to Peter about this, but he put out a song with Peter from Over It just before Christmas, which was
dude, I've got all of it, dude. I think that band is criminally underrated too, man.
Yeah, that's a good show.
Dude, when we tour the UK again, man, I'm taking a whole day out where we're just gonna fucking go to record stores and talk music.
We're 100% doing that, and then we'll go to Saucony's. It'll be amazing.
Oh man.
All right, bud. I'll shoot you an email, if not tonight, tomorrow, with all the links that we talked about and stuff. But
thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, thank you, Rishi. Okay,
take it easy, brother.